Hi everyone, this is Noah Sandler from MTGOacademy.com, and today I've got a treat for you. I'm going to be drafting triple time spiral draft. It is one of my all-time favorite formats. It was the format that was out when I started the website motosharks.com, which was kind of the precursor to Channel Fireball, doing video draft content in 2007. So this is a format that's near and dear to me. Know it like the back of my hand, and it's going down immediately. It was only up for a week, but it is a really fun format. A lot of interesting draft decisions. The gameplay is exciting, and a lot of nostalgia value. The cards are usually combinations of like 2 or 3 Magic cards from like the early days of Magic. So between the artwork, flavor, the card names, the mechanics, everything has pretty high nostalgia value. Now, one thing is the full block of Time Spiral. This is just going to be triple Time Spiral, but the full block is has this card called Sprout Swarm at common in the third set feature site, and that is one of the most broken commons for limited of all time. If not number one, definitely in the top 5. And that card by itself could just warp games in a really stupid way. You just make a Saproling every single turn, and then you make 2, then you make 3 Saprolings, and it gets really hard to stop. And the games take forever, but eventually you beat your opponent with a ton of Saprolings. So this format does not have Sprout Swarm. We don't have to worry about that. Has a lot of suspend cards, which are always better than they look. So it might take 4 turns for them to play, but will usually cost 1 or 2 mana for a medium-sized creature. One of the best being Errant Ephemeron, 4/4 flyer. That comes out with haste for just 2 mana after 4 turns at common. So yeah, pretty exciting format. They only have Swiss queues up, so I'll be doing that. The player quality is going to be a bit lower, and you will probably notice that in the drafting portion, because I have seen some really dumb cards getting passed around late. Even some of like the top 2 or 3 best cards in the format I've seen as late as 7th pick. So we could end up with a pretty busted deck. So let's jump into queue. Okay, this is a pretty easy first pick. We've got Firemaw Kavu. It's potentially better than Flametongue Kavu. Once you get to 6 mana, really easy to kill 2 creatures with it, and sometimes even 3 creatures. And there's some blink effects and bounce that can make it even more broken. Other than that, there's Temporal Isolation, one of the best white commons. It's basically a 2 mana removal spell, and Squall Line, which was really good in Two-Headed Giant since the damage got doubled. You could finish your opponents out of nowhere with that card. But yeah, we'll take Firemaw Kavu. Strong first pick. And, well, there's a Disintegrate, which is in the top 3 cards in the format, and someone took an uncommon over it. So, we are passing Errant Ephemeron, the best common in the set, which is pretty insane, but yeah, Disintegrate, because it's only single red mana, and it's so splashable, it might be the best first pick in the format. The other few cards are Sacred Mesa and Stormbind, that are extremely powerful, and yeah, all of them being the purple time-shifted cards. So if you are new to the format, each pack basically has 2 rares. There's the rare and there's the purple card. And the purple cards could be like they're basically old Magic cards from the beginning all the way up, maybe to before Mirrodin, something like that. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, they're old cards, and they are anywhere from common to rare. Disintegrate was actually a common, but Yeah, they don't really do that anymore with X spells. Alright, Fledgling Mawkors, very nice. And also Clockwork Hydra. Hydra is going to make the cut regardless. Mawkor is a more powerful card. It's a pinger that also flies, can attack, and has morph. So kind of a tough pick. Also Gorgon Recluse is really nice. Let's see, we passed an Ephemeron. I mean, we might have to fight for blue next pack. The Hydra is going to make the cut regardless. So, close pick. I feel like the person to the left of us is in blue anyway. If blue ends up being really open from the right, I think we can still just move in next pick. So, I'm actually just going to take the Hydra. And here, nothing exciting. Coral Trickster's fine. There's an Mtgo Shaman. Shaman might be the best card in the pack. I do feel like blue is open from the right, so I think I'll just take the Trickster. I also think that with the Firemaw Kavu, I think blue's a natural pair, since if you play Kavu and then bounce it, it gets really stupid. So we'll take a Trickster here. I mean, I haven't seen any signals that green's open. The Shaman being, I guess, the best card in the pack there, but I'm not, unless if I see some more green. Like, it kind of seems like blue at least is open from the right. Green, we're not sure yet, so I'd rather take a chance on the Trickster. Okay, we've got Thala Germinator, Thrilla Hunt, Assassinate. Thrilla Hunt, one of the most underrated cards, at least at the moment, with the flashback. I mean, the card has flashback. With these Swiss cues, a lot of people don't know that this card is really, really good. Now, you gotta be green-white to want to put in your deck, but giving you 2 1-mana pump spells, really easy to 2-for-1 with the card. That said, it's a pretty late Assassinate. I think red-black control with a ton of removal and a few late-game finishers is a really good archetype. Germinator is also fine, but I'm just going to take the best card and Assassinate. Super late, Knight of the Holy Nimbus, so Siphon Mage. I'm just going to take the Knight. Haven't seen any signal that white is open, but this is extremely late, so, still looking for a second color. And Siphon Mage is fine, but, I mean, if white ends up open, passing the Knight would be really bad. I don't actually like red-white that much, though, but it's just too powerful. It's also a rebel, so if you can search it up, that's really, really good. So, yeah, we're definitely red. I mean, I guess we could actually easily not be red and just splash for Kavu and Disintegrate. If red just seems to not be open, like, both these cards are 100% splashable. So I guess we'll just leave everything in for now. And at this point, I'll probably try to get out of blue, considering we're not going to see any pack 2. And, yeah, it didn't really show up in the first pack. So I think I'll take a Skycutter here. Pit Keeper is also fine, and Wipe Away is fine, but blue didn't really show up like I expected it might. And since we're going to fight for a pack 2, I don't think it's worth it at this point. So another Skycutter, Lord Atlantis. We do have a Merfolk, but it's not. Like, double blue's kind of rough. Tectonic Fiend. Yeah, if you must, if you are really short on finishers, I guess you can. But like casting this for 6, paying 6 upkeep, and then your opponent bounces it. You have to cast it for 6 again, pay another 6, and then it also attacks each turn if able. So if they have like a Penumbra Spider that can chump a couple turns with it, it's just not a good card. I do like Molten Slag Heap, though, especially if we end up red-black. That's great with the Disintegrate. Gives us a nice late-game play. And super late Prismatic Lens. So, looks like we might be going into red-black. I mean, our black isn't anything insane, just Assassinate and Slag Heap. But it is a good combination. The color combination, you can pick up Strangling Soots, which are really powerful. We also got this Knight of the Holy Nimbus, and we saw 0 other white, so I think that was just an anomaly. I guess I'll take a Dread Return. Could take Slipstream Serpent. I think it's a little bit more playable, though Return with Fire Makavu is super nice, so this might be a spot where I'd fit Dread Return into the deck. Only gets creatures from your graveyard, so not quite as flexible as the kind of reanimation spells we've seen lately. Like go to Magic Origins and I don't know, some other set. Usually they're like 5 mana, return a creature from any graveyard now. This will take Basalt Sliver. I'll hate a Pentarch Ward. It's a pretty good sideboard card. Some matchups, your opponents will only have like one type of removal, and Ward can do a lot of work, and it cycles, so it doesn't have to have too big of an effect for it to be reasonable. Not a card I main deck, but it can do some work in the right situation. So we got a Deep Sea Kraken, Duskrider Peregrine, and Trespasser Elvek as options. I mean, Trespasser's fine. If you get some Madness cards, it can be nice. But I don't think I'm so far deep into my colors that I shouldn't take one of these like closer to bomb cards. Both of these, Kraken and Peregrine, they're both very strong. I don't expect to see blue this pack. Probably would expect to see a lot of white this pack. And then pack 3, I'd probably expect to see blue and not much white. So it's kind of a tough pick. I think I'm going to take the Peregrine. Like one thing with Deep Sea Kraken is if your opponent has a split second spell, they can counter the Kraken. When there's one counter on the Kraken, they can play the split second spell. The Kraken's going to try to cast itself, and because it's split second, it's going to fizzle, and then it'll just stay exiled for the rest of the game. I think I'm going to take Peregrine. This is kind of close. I can't possibly expect to see blue this pack, considering we passed Ephemeron, Fledgling Machor, so... but we might see a lot of white. Really weak pack. Thought the Slayer's okay, but it has no defensive value. Thunder Totem's okay. Mogg War Marshal is decent. There's also Terramorphic Expanse. I don't think there's any chance we're not main red at this point, since we took these Sky Cutters, and we're going to end up so short on playables if red isn't our main color. So, I mean, the Expanse, I could end up splashing something. Evil Eye of Urborg is also okay. I think I might just take the War Marshal here, which I know is going to make the cut. And considering I'm moving around in different colors, I think I could end up short on playables. So it might suck to have to pass up on something that I know is going to make the cut. Wow, what a sick pack. I mean, you get the foil rare, which means that there's another rare. Then there's a purple that is one of the best cards in the set, Sacred Mesa. Then there's 3 uncommons, including Sulphurous Blast, which is one of the best uncommons in the set. So this is an incredibly sick pack. I'm going to take Sacred Mesa. The card is basically unbeatable if you have enough planes in your deck. So I think I'm just going to move into white for that. Now, it's a bit risky. I'll take this as a signal that white is open if people know what this card does. I mean, it's obviously a sick pack, so I can't read too much into it. But I think we cut white really hard. We could probably get a decent finish to this pack in red-white. Gargadon's also nice. It's good with the War Marshal. But Mesa is just in a level by itself, up there with Disintegrate as the best cards in the format, so let's take that. Kind of an interesting pick. There's Avalanche Riders, Evangelize, and Frisian Totem. I think all 3 of them are actually in kind of a similar power level. Evangelize, gain control of target creature and opponent controls of their choice for 5 mana, or you could pay 9 mana, buy it back. So if you get up to 9 mana, it's almost impossible to lose the game. Like, every single turn, you get one of their creatures. So that's kind of nice. I mean, we do have some inevitability with Sacred Mesa and maybe Disintegrate already. And then the Totem is really nice, helps you ramp, and is a pretty good threat as well. So I feel like this is pretty close. And then Riders is fine. I feel like it's a little bit under power level of these two. I think I'm going to take the Evangelize, though I feel a little bit awkward about that. I do like Totem a decent amount. And we'll take a Cannonade here. This is 2 damage, you draw a card, you take 3. There's Empty the Warrens and Zalfrin Commander. Commander's solid, 3-drop. Empty the Warrens, we have 1 Suspend card right now. It's okay with Prismatic Lens. So it doesn't look great right now. This might be the pick. I mean, Commander's a pretty good attacker on 3. Like, you really need to get Warrens, at least one of their card played for it to be good. I think I'll just take Commander. And we'll take Conflict Rate. It's a fine removal spell. Sometimes it's really good, you can cast it twice. Chromatic Star or Jetit's Dragoons. This seems like a really good Jetit's Dragoons deck. Chromatic Star, I mean, I don't think I'll be splashing, but I could maybe splash something in black if I had to. It's good with Storm. It's easy to play the turn you Storm off. Helps with like the double white of Night. But this does seem like a red-white control deck, and something like Jetit's Dragoons just locks down the board, gains some life, and then can maybe beat in a little bit. So a little bit of a weird pick, but I think I like that here. We'll take Moorish Cavalry. 3/3 is actually reasonable in this format. I don't like Channeler that much. I think Fortify is a little overkill. We do have some token synergies, but I think we're more of a control deck, and Fortify is better for aggro. And Aether Flame Wall. Could run that. We've got a lot of 2s already, so I think it's probably going to be in the board. Wow! Greater Gargadon came around. I mean, it was an insane pack. Also like Bogart and Rager a decent amount, but Gargadon's going to be really sick. Gargadon I could also like, well, it's not really a combo with Evangelize, but it's good with Mog War Marshal. If you just put it out there on turn 1, yeah, at some point your opponent's going to have to deal with it, and every turn you're threatening to attack for 9, so it can be pretty scary. So that was an incredible pack for our deck. I'm picking up Sacred Mesa. Now, the question is, are we, like, I'm getting very worried about pack 3 at this point. I mean, I think our deck's going to be fine, because that pack was just so insane. Like, we just need to fill in our curve a little bit, not get too clunky. You know, get some solid cards in like the 3, 4, 5 range. I'm kind of done with 6 and like super expensive stuff. But the problem is that we weren't seeing white in pack 1, so white might get cut. And we passed a ton of great red in pack 2, so someone who wasn't in red might have moved in. And we didn't even see that much red in the first pack. Like, we got past the Disintegrate, and after that, you know, we saw a couple Sky Cutters. So it's possible that we get really cut this pack. So, yeah, I mean, we don't need that much more to finish out our deck. But I'm going to take, like, early drops, because our late game's so good. I'm going to take defensive cards pretty early and hope we can just squeak by with the deck at this point. I'll take a Castle Raptors here. Cavalry Master is also fine, but Raptors 3/5 flying blocker for 5 is really nice. That can really help us stall to the late game. And we got Magus of the Scroll. Card is really strong. It's a little weaker in our deck since we've got such a high end, so it's gonna be hard for us to empty our hand. But it's still just really powerful. And we'll take a Keldon Halberdier here over Grape Shot. All these 1-mana suspend creatures are, like, every single one of them is good. And yeah, just it's also a pretty good blocker. And we just want to kind of hold off our opponents till we can get to the late game and play our bombs. Probably gonna run 18 lands with this deck. So help out Sacred Mesa, Evangelize, Disintegrate, and then these 6 drops. Could even run Molten Slag Heap. I mean, if I am doing nothing, I can just sit there charging it. And then, you know, even though it doesn't fix for me, yeah, you know, it's probably worth running. There is a Strangling Sit here. Also Mog War Marshal. Hard to pass up on Strangling Sit. Like, if we run the Slag Heap, the Prismatic Lens, we're almost there already. It just gives you like an easy 2-for-1. The Mog War Marshal with the Gargadon and with how slow our deck is would also be really nice. And with Sacred Mesa, I don't want to have to run too many non-white sources, so it's a little bit sketchy, but I think the card's too powerful to pass. So we got a Coal Stoker, which is solid. Not doing anything super exciting with it in this deck. And there's also a Trump the Domains, which could just completely destroy us. The card is just a game winner. I kind of feel like this is a spot where you can just hate draft. I mean, I'm not that excited about Stoker in this deck. I mean, I can cast a 2-drop off of it sometimes, maybe a Cannonade. Where Trump the Domains, like, my deck's trying to go to the super late game and like make a bunch of tokens. If at any point my opponent draws Trump, I'll just lose. So I feel like it's okay to hate here. Fiery Justice, really strong card. Bogren and Rager is fine, though I feel like at this point isn't going to be a great fit. I'm going to take the Fiery Justice, even though I don't think there's really much of a chance that I play it. That deals 5 damage to... Basically, you deal 5 damage to your opponent's creatures, and then your opponent gains 5 life. And you could also target your opponent with the damage, so it'll kind of... You know, if you want to kill a 2 toughness thing, your opponent will gain 2 life. And that's really powerful. You can kill 3 creatures with it for 3 mana. But it's going to be hard to cast, so you got Pull from Eternity, decent cyborg card, Errant Doomsayers. It's okay, I'm not a big fan. I'm just going to hate the Penumbra Spider. Though, maybe Pull from Eternity. There are some matchups where your opponent plays multiple Suspend cards, and you're going to want Pull from Eternity. So, it might have not been correct, but Penumbra Spider can be pretty annoying. And, yeah, with the kind of cards that get passed around so late in these Swiss drafts, I kind of hate a little bit more. I'm not sure if that's always correct. Over like marginal sideboard cards. I think maybe the pull would have been right there. Yeah, Zeldovec can be okay against 1 toughness creatures. Not going to have it in the main. So Fiery Justice can go. And we're at 21 spells right now. I'll hate the Dronu. Got destroyed by this card recently. So I guess we can just splash the Assassinate as well. Then maybe Aether Flame Wall or Zealot Ilvec. Though I guess at this point we're at 22, so we just want to run 18 lands. But if I'm putting in Soot, I should probably put in Assassinate. It's not quite as powerful. Excuse me, I feel like I probably need to run 1 Swamp here. It's a little awkward. I might have to just draw first with this deck so I can hit my mana. But yeah, I do want enough double white for the Knight and the Sacred Mesa. If you can get up to 3 white late game, the Sacred Mesa will usually finish the game. If you can get up to 4 with 8 mana, that's really sick. Oh wow, the Mog War Marshal came back. That's really nice. So, for cuts, I could cut the Moorish Cavalry. We got the Rager back, but I feel like in this deck, I think Dragoons, and we got the Pull from Eternity back last pick. Alright, I don't feel so bad about hating that. I guess my play was correct. Results. So, Rager can go. I rarely cut Rager, but it's much better in aggressive decks. Though it is fine here. Like, your opponent attacks, you play Rager, pump up a Goblin or a Mog War Marshal, or a token, and then block with Rager and the token, take out 2 creatures. That can be pretty nice. But I think Jettit's Dragoons... like it works better against evasive creatures because you just gain 4 life, and it does have bigger toughness. And I do think I want to be going for a more control game. I could cut Moorish Cavalry. Like it's Hill Giant with upside, but the double white's a little bit tough. And this looks pretty good. I think I want to run this. I think we gotta do 1 swamp, so 3 sources for 2 black cards, and then want to lean hard on the white so you can get Knight and Sacred Mesa going. This is 16, so I can go 1 more. Probably gotta do 1 more red. That's like 9 sources of red, 8 of white, plus the prismatic lens. And the slag heap can't be used for red early, so I kind of do need to get that extra red source. So yeah, this deck looks pretty powerful. I mean, mana is a little bit awkward, but have some really sick bombs and great removal and some good early defense. So yeah, definitely like it. Round 1's about to start. I'll see you then. Alright, round 1, ready to go. Opponent goes to 6. We'll keep, we got a turn 2 Suspended Peregrine and turn 3 Commander. So pretty aggressive draw for our deck. Start with the plains, though even if we draw Knight of the Holy Nimbus, I'm just suspending Peregrine anyway. Opponent plays Mind/Sliver and Vesuva. So anything on the battlefield. Interesting. Well, there's Sacred Mesa. So, interesting, opponent went for Vesuva there, didn't target the plains, and I have the sliver. And with their slivers, I don't know what's going on here. Let's go with Commander. So, Sacred Mesa is really powerful, but you don't really want to play it early. I mean, I could play next turn, upkeep, make 2. Wow, opponent Lightning Axe, discarding my War Marshal. This does not seem like a recommended play. So I can go Skycutter or I can go Mesa. I think I'm just gonna go Skycutter. But if I go Mesa, upkeep, make 2, Pegasi, play a Plains, and I just basically get a flyer every turn. But I want to play the Hydra on 5, so I'm just going to go with Skycutter. Like, because Mesa has the upkeep where you have to sacrifice a Pegasus, like, until you're making, until you have a good shot of making 3 in a turn, I think you are better off just playing out the rest of your hand. And then going for Mesa after. Okay, Vampiric Sliver. But looks like our Peregrine's out. And conflict rate. So let's go with Hydra. And should be safe for 1 turn to send the Peregrine in. I mean, I could definitely leave it back, though. Yeah. I'm a pretty conservative player. Like, if I see a way to win, I tend to just sit around and, not go for max value on getting in as much damage as possible, because once I get Sacred Mesa out, it shouldn't really matter how much damage I've gotten in. Like, eventually I'm going to deal infinite damage with the Mesa. So as long as I can keep my life total high enough that I don't just die, yeah, it's usually better. So I'm going to kill the Skimmer here. I could actually wait. And maybe it's right to just sit back, because I'm going to leave the Peregrine back, so there's no reason to really sack the Skycutter until I'm forced to. But let's go with Sacred Mesa. Let's see. I'm never going to activate Slag Heap here, so I should have actually just left up the other mountain so I could cannonade. But Opponent might just want to concede here. Mesa's about to get out of hand. So upkeep, what you can do is, yeah, I'll just tap the sidekeep. You can upkeep Mesa and then sack the one that you just made. And that lets you have another one that doesn't have Summoning Sickness. So we'll attack for... let's go attack for 1. You could definitely send Peregrine in 2, but like if opponent kills the Hydra and starts attacking and I have to make chumps, I just don't need to play that game. Okay, Tectonic Fiend. It's not a great card in this spot. Now with Tectonic Fiend up, I mean here I can definitely just get very aggressive with my attacks. Because opponent's gonna have to pay Echo. Wow, and War Marshal. This is not a good matchup for Tectonic Fiend. So I am going to send all the flyers. And I think I'm going to play the War Marshal and use that to block the Fiend. Wait, am I going to make that mistake again? Hold on. Well, I already did. Should be leaving up Cannonade, but not a big deal. So, yeah, that's game. So yeah, Sacred Mesa, pretty strong card. One of the best 3 cards in the format. So, what did we see here? I mean, they had the Mind Slash Sliver. I mean, Zealot could be reasonable. Pentarch Ward could be fine. Though, like, if I put Pentarch Ward on a Peregrine and name red, that is just about good game. But our deck's pretty good as is. Like, the worst card might be the Commander. Yeah, I'll try that. Let's get Zealot in over Commander. Or wait, what was I saying? No, let's get Pentarch Ward in over, oh, not Mesa, over Commander. I mean, if we do it on black and then the opponent uses a red removal spell to kill our creature, that's annoying, but I think we can get some value out of it. And then just drawing cards is good for our deck, since we have bombs, and we need lands, we need to draw our bombs, so something that cycles is pretty good. Yeah, I think our deck's so powerful, there's no need to keep a hand like this. We've got 18 lands. It's reasonable that we can suspend the Peregrine before turn 4, and then we'll have some defense going, but I think even if we get to 3 lands, we're not quite there yet. I mean, the Pentarch Ward on the Peregrine would be nice, but I just think our deck's really powerful, so I'm going to 6. And this hand is not keepable. Let's go to 5. Alright, we'll go with this. Being on 5 means that Magus for the Scroll is like already turned on. So that's actually not that bad. If opponent kills the Magus, then we're in some trouble. Ooh, Peregrine. So, yeah, let's just suspend Peregrine. Excuse me. Then next turn we can cast Lens and use it to play the Magus, and then might be able to hit the Slayer in a turn. We could upkeep Magus also, though we're actually better off just drawing a card. Okay, opponent has Feebleness. But we're pretty close to Jetis Dragoons, which can definitely help us against the Slayer beats. So I think next turn Peregrine's coming out, and next turn we get to play Dragoons, so we're going to have a pretty good attack force. Mind Slash Sliver. Opponent going to use it. We have to discard our mountain. Yep. They lose Flowstone Channeler. Let's put a counter here. Peregrine comes out. And we drew land anyway. So yeah, I mean the Dragoons doesn't look that exciting. 6 mana for a 2/5 seems a bit overpriced, and gaining 4 life. You know, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't seem that great, but it just kind of is the perfect card. I mean, it's a 23rd card. It's nothing super special, but kind of just gets the job done. Like, just make sure you don't die to evasive creatures with that 4 life. Can put a little bit of pressure on offense, and just that big 5 toughness butt is just like big enough to man, I could Pentarch Ward the Dragoons for black, and that's a vigilance pro black creature. It can start getting that return. So while going for red on the Peregrine is nice, I want to be attacking with the Peregrine, so let's just go black. And it's going to be really hard for opponent to, I guess, if they have Lightning Axe, they got 3 cards in hand. If they go Mountain Lightning Axe, that's a little annoying, but I'm still drawing a card off of it. And I get a little bit of damage this turn. So let's go probably the Plains. If I draw neither Holy Nimbus, it's a little annoying. Or actually I could leave up the Prismatic Lens. That might be better. I don't have that many 3-drops. So we go like this. I can cast pretty much anything. Let's go pro black. Disintegrate. So we're just going to hold on to Disintegrate and keep charging up the Slag Heap and go face for lethal pretty soon. The opponent had, like, they already played their Mind Slash Sliver, so I don't know if they have any more discard. I'll be a little bit careful about that. Like, I might keep a land in hand where I wouldn't otherwise. Conflagrate, so let's attack. Probably just Conflagrate opponent's face. 1, 2. Nah, that doesn't really do anything. I'll just pass. This is the Lightning Axe, and then we'll just Disintegrate face next turn, and then it'll be game. They discard the Tectonic Fiend. Good choice. Not a great card in this matchup. Let's add some black. And Disintegrate for 8. Okay, this is a Swiss queue. So whether we win or lose, we're going to be playing all 3 rounds. But this deck is performing pretty well so far, so hopefully we can get the big 3-0. So I'll see you for next round. Alright, we're back for round 2. This hand is a little bit awkward, but it's keepable. So probably just going to hold on to the Halberdiers if I don't draw a mountain. But I could also try to suspend them on like turn 4 off the lens, but luckily we drew the mountain. Don't have to worry about that. Opponent starts with Viscera Deepwalker. Our Halberdier plays well against that. Okay, good. No Ephemeron. So here we could go with the War Marshal or Prismatic Lens. I think I'm just going to go with War Marshal and pay the upkeep. Now, depending on what we draw, that could stunt us for a little while. But if we go with Lens and then go for War Marshal, then we'd want to pay the upkeep the turn after that. So I feel like with nothing in our hand that we really need to cast, I think this is the time for War Marshal. So Spike Till Drakeling. It's interesting against Cannonade. So we could Cannonade, opponent probably sacks so we don't draw the card, but then we don't take 3 damage, so I think it works out okay. So Magus of the Scroll, nice draw. Just gonna pass. And then next turn, probably go Magus, then Prismatic Lens. If the opponent wants to sack Drake to kill the lens, that's fine. Okay, Primal Force Mage. Slag Heap. So it can also go Lens and then Cannonade on either the Drakeling or the Force Mage. I guess we should just do the Drakeling since the opponent is able to fizzle it if they want. Yeah, seems pretty good. Oh wait, I'm messing this up, aren't I? No, I can't do that. Cannonade, to have to switch into red, it's going to cost me an extra mana. So instead I can cast Magus and Prismatic Lens and charge the Slag Heap. That's pretty good. I can chump the Deep Walker with the War Marshal. I'd like to get rid of that Drakeling before I cast the Fire Makavu. So opponent's stuck on a single green. Sending the Force Mage. I guess I'd take a ton of damage if I take that, so I will just put the... It's good heads up play by opponent. I'm just going to put War Marshal on the Deep Walker. We'll charge up the Slag Heap. So Halberdier comes out. Opponent's taken on this. Could be Cancel or Mystic Snake. It's not too many counters in the format. They don't have 6 mana up for Draining Welk, which is the biggest whammy. Okay. So what I think we're going to do is Cannonade, I think the Force Mage. And then try to random hit the Drakeling. Oh, actually, well, hold on. Let's see. Problem is, if the Cannonade resolves, you know, we take the 3 damage, we draw the card, but that means that we're not 50-50 anymore to hit with the Magus. If we instead cast the Cannonade, say, on the Drakeling, and in response use Magus on the Force Mage, then that could be good. So we're 50-50 to hit Force Mage, and we're definitely killing the Drakeling. Yeah, that sounds like a great play, actually. I was about to explain like why that wouldn't work, but no, that's definitely it. So Cannonade, and if if opponent wants to counter, they're perfectly fine to do. Alright, so we'll name planes. So I mean, if 50-50 we hit we'd prefer that they don't see our Fire Makavu. So best case scenario, we hit the plains, they don't know about Fire Makavu. Opponent gets to decide if they want to counter the cannonade or not. I mean, they probably want to counter it. If they don't, we do go to 11, and then we have an extra card in our hand. It makes it harder for us to Magus in a future turn. But still, we are drawing an extra card, so I feel like they probably want to counter it. And their Deep Walker isn't accomplishing too much at the moment. They're tapping mana, Aether Web. Okay. So now it doesn't matter what I hit, so I might as well name something crazy. So let's go for Desolation Giant, which I think is the scariest thing. That or Sulphurous Blast. Okay, is this really believable? Am I really naming Desolation Giant here? No matter what I flip, they're gonna know that that's crap. But let's go with Sulphurous Blast. Maybe they'll. Oh, I showed Fire Makavu, so maybe I would have wanted to hide the Fire Makavu and show the Sulphurous Blast. But that's a pretty funny spot there where, no matter what, I don't need to hit off Magus, and so I can try to represent, the craziest... Oh, they have cancel for the cannonade. Interesting. Well, I don't want to get too crazy here. I could get attacks in, but I think I want to... Man, it's pretty safe to put one Goblin in. I can't see how I'm punished for that. Yeah, I'll put one Goblin in. Don't want to do two, because I want to at least chump the Deep Walker if something crazy happens. It only has one card in hand, so I'm looking pretty safe. Now they know that I have the Fire Makavu in hand. I get to hit the Drake. Or, well, I don't get to hit the Drake. They get to counter. So let's see what they do. Okay, just Drakelings, so looks like they don't have anything. And they might have a creature here, but we're looking in really good shape. Especially if we draw a card that costs 4 or less mana here. And we did perfect. Let's cast that. Play the land. And now we get to use this Magus. Few options here. I think the best play is to attack with the Halberdier. And I think we just pass, go to opponent's turn. So the Magus, most likely we're just going to kill the Drakeling with it. But if opponent tries to go for a big attack here, we could trade a Goblin token off for one of their better creatures. We can still chump with Skycutter and then sack it to hit the Drakeling. So if opponent didn't just draw something here, I mean, this is not that painful for us. I don't know if Deep Walker or Force Mage is scarier. I feel like probably killing Force Mage. It's got reach, and that ability is probably better than Deep Walker. So I'm going to block like this. I'm going to sack Skycutter to hit the Drakeling. Then I'm going to let damage resolve. Whoa. Void Mage Husher. You cast a spell, you may return it to its owner's hand. Okay. So I'm still going to use the Magus to kill the Force Mage. I can pump the slag heap. Fire Makavu. So upkeep 1, 2, 3. I think I want to upkeep kill the Drakeling. Though killing the Husher would also be nice. I think we gotta like stop opponents' offense at the moment. Fire Makavu. Draw. Just get a swamp. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can cast Fire Maw. So 2 on Husher. And attack with Halberdier and Goblin. Not much opponent can do. You know, I'm all about playing it safe, but with the Firemon play, I mean, if they try to remove it somehow, it deals 4 to the Deepwalker. If opponent attacks, I just block. I mean, they'd need something pretty specific, like bounce and some kind of large pump spell, and then like pump it for damage. So I think this is fine to just get max damage in. Alright, so opponent's deck looks not that great. I think they actually had even like a pretty good draw as far as like they got the turn 1 Deepwalker and Force Mage and Drakeling out. But Husher, Aetherweb, and Cancel aren't that great in this format, so their deck looks a little bit weak at the moment. I didn't see any 1 toughness creatures, so I don't want to put Zealot in. They had some instant speed stuff. Pull from Eternity could be good. With the Primal Force Mage, you'd think that they'd have a few suspend creatures, so it might be a good matchup for pull. I did only see 1 so far. It's hard to say like how many cards you need to see before you put in pull. I feel like if your opponent goes turn 1 suspend, turn 2 Ephemeron, I think that's enough to just put pull in. This is was it Bayesian inferences? Like you have to look at the small portion of evidence that you have and try to extrapolate from that to try to figure out like, okay, you know, if I saw this, you know, what are the odds of them having, you know, if I see 2 suspend creatures, how many suspend creatures are they likely to have, and like how likely is it going to have 4 or 5, and then decide for your sideboard cards, do I want to put in a card that is only going to be good against 4 cards of my opponent, and otherwise it's going to be a dead card. And you got to think about like, well, how good is it against those 4 cards? Like, do I just win the game if I draw it and they have one of those cards? You know, killing a suspend card is pretty powerful. It's similar to playing a terminate effect. Like you just kill their card for 1 mana. But you know, sometimes in the later game, it could be a dead card where your opponent draws an Ephemeron late game. They just cast it for 7, and you're sitting there with the Pull from Eternity in your hand. So in that sense, like you do want to make sure that they've got a large number of suspend creatures before you put it in. And that like suspend is a really integral part of their deck. So if they're playing stuff like Primal Force Mage, it's more likely to be the case. So do we put it in? I've only seen 1 suspend card. I know they're going to be running more. I think I'm just going to wait for next game, see if, you know, if we do see the Ephemeron and some suspend cards that we really need help dealing with. For now, I think we're just going to run this back. Yep. Nice. This hand seems great. We've got turn 1 Gargadon, already looking good. We have Mog War Marshal to combo with Gargadon. So that's potentially 3 counters already off. Opponent's got the turn 1 Deep Walker. At this point, also a little more likely that they actually have 2 Deep Walkers. Yeah, we did draw the planes there, but the Prismatic Lens and Slag Heap means we've got all the colored mana we need, and if nothing else, we can just keep charging our Slag Heap and get us up to Fire Makavu. So probably just going to run out the War Marshal here. And then there's a question if we want to sack to the Gargadon or pay the Echo. So if we just sack to Gargadon, then we can go opponent plays Truth or Tail. Kind of a weird card. Yeah, there's not really exciting cards opponent has there. So opponent chooses one of his piles. Put a card from the chosen pile into your hand. So basically the opponent gets 1 card. And they're trying to separate the piles such that they minimum get like 1 card that they want. So they're going to try to take the best 2 cards for them and split them up. If there's 1 card that they need, I mean, they played Island, Truth or Tail. So the pile I choose, they get a card. So because they went Island, now maybe they're on some really high level here, but because they went Island, it kind of looks like they are stuck on mana. Now, of course, they would want a forest mostly, but I mean, all 3 cards in pile 1 look like cards that are currently good for our opponent, and pile 2, these are cards that are currently bad. I mean, the worst case scenario is they have forest, or they're about to draw forest, they play the Primal Forest Mage, and now that's active. But we've got Mog War Marshal, so even the Deep Walker isn't getting in for a bunch of damage, so yeah, I mean, I'm just going to take pile 2. I'm surprised, like, the top 3 cards that I would have not wanted opponent to get seem like they're in the first pile, so I feel like opponent might have just like not understood that and kind of messed up a little bit. So how do I see what they get? So they reveal these 5. Then Fathom Seer, Primal Force Mage, Island, Cancel, revealed. I think that means that they... Let's see. Put a card from your hand, put all the other cards revealed so on the bottom of it anymore. So I think they took the Husher. And they played Salt Crested Steppe. Okay. I think I'm just gonna pay the upkeep. I mean, we're gonna have to block the Deep Walker for a turn and sack, so I mean, there is some value here in actually having the War Marshal. Otherwise, we're just playing Prismatic Lens and putting counter in Slag Heap, which is, that's also good. Yeah, it seems close, but I don't know. Until I see more, I'm not really seeing that big of a need to be untapped this turn. Like, we do get a free 1/1 out of the deal. Okay, so opponent's got the Husher up. So we can go Prismatic Lens. and pass. This opponent does have the Husher, so no reason to attack. Okay, just put a counter on step. Guess I should have slag heap there. Maybe I'll just do it now, like before opponents use their card. Like if they want to play Husher just to prevent the counter coming on, that's totally fine. Like it's going to tap them out for their turn. But if opponent draws and they have nothing else to do, like they might want to just counter my slag heap activation. Be a little bit weird. They could counter the Gargadon. Husher is a weird card. Alright. Block sack. Gargadon at 6. Opponent just passes. So, kind of like Conflagrate here on the Drakeling. And opponent has a Swamp, could be for Mystical Teachings. I could have Aether Web, but then we can assassinate Drakeling next turn. Okay. And now I'm going to attack with at least one goblin. The other one block and sack. This opponent no longer has the Husher up. So we're still looking good. Next turn we assassinate the Drakeling. We got this Gargadon looming, and Fire Makavu could do some work. Could also maybe abuse Fire Maw with Gargadon, so we could sack it to hit something for 4 immediately. Magus the Jar, that's a really good card. That's pretty scary. And Jet Dragoons is alright. So we gotta kill the Drakeling. But that Magus is going to be trouble. Let's see. If only I could conflagrate when my opponent used Magus. So we just assassinate the Drakeling, add a counter to Slag Heap. I'd love to get in with that Gargadon. Could be a little risky. I could sack 2 lands in the Goblin. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if I charge Slag Heap. So I could still play a 6-drop next turn. Opponent would be at 10. The problem is they get to Magus, and then if they have any, bounce or something for Gargadon, or they'd probably have some chumpers. So it may not work out too well. So I think I'm just gonna assassinate Drakeling, play a land, and pass. Now opponent has cancel, but it is at the bottom of their deck. They haven't shuffled. So I could just go for a Gargadon ambush here if opponent attacks for Deep Walker, but probably best to just block with Goblin and sack it. Yeah, I think this seems right. Sacrificing the lands is kind of painful, and I do have like the Disintegrate, Sacred Mesa. Like I got stuff later on that I could use that mana for. Eating a Deep Walker is nice though. This also means that if opponent just passes, so storage counter. Hopefully this isn't Draining Welk. It's a little scary just because they played Magus, they didn't use it. Now, they can do it at the end of my turn, but you think they would just use it and like play some cards out, but instead they just leave up 6. I wouldn't think my opponent's like a particularly super strong player necessarily, and I do tend to overthink things sometimes, and there might not even be a way we can play around this, honestly. But I am getting a little bit of a like spidey sense going off with this spot, so I'm gonna go with Dragoons and War Marshal. I mean, if opponent has Draining Welk, I might just be dead anyway if they counter my Dragoons. Okay, they didn't. So let's add the red. Let's make sure I did that right. Red 2. Could throw Gargadon out there, but opponent does get a lot of hits to try to get rid of it. So I'm just going to pass. And I can probably go end of turn Magus here, which will mean they get to use all of next turn to cast stuff. They get to pump their step a turn. I mean, if they keep waiting... Okay, Quick Claw Transmuter. So they get a flyer, but it's something I can kill with... the Fire Maw. So I can just block with the War Marshal. Could also double block, but I think I'll just keep the Dragoons around for now. So I can sack it, but I'm just going to wait till my turn. No reason to let the Gargadon be in play on my opponent's turn, especially if they do want to sack the Magus. And they're going to wait. I mean, perhaps the flaw in my play is that if opponent has Draining Welk, okay, in response they Magus. So they didn't have Draining Welk, but ooh. Wait, I mean, this, Uh, not sure about that play for opponent. Like, they just Magused and gave me a draw here. Like, they let me draw 7 new cards on my turn that I get to cast, including Sacred Mesa. So, even if they have Draining Welk... Oh, they drew into Teferi. Yeah, I can't sack to get it out, so that's unfortunate. Still, they did not need to time it that way. So Teferi means I can't cast my Gargadon. Duskrider Peregrine. 1 short from Peregrine. But Sacred Mesa is... Oh, I get to Conflagrate too. Jeez, I don't know what opponent's thinking. Wow. Let's drop that Mesa. Oh, I can suspend Peregrine. I did my mana a little bit off. Wow, this is sick. So... Oh no, I did my mana off. 1, 4. 3, 4, 5. Kill all that. Ooh, Dreamstalker at an instant speed. That's nice. So he gets to save their Teferi. If they do... Yeah, that's what they're doing. Unfortunately, now the Peregrine isn't going to resolve if opponent still has Teferi in play. So because of that, I think I'm just going to let Peregrine die and just make another flying token with Mesa. Oh, but... Oh, hold on, no! I almost missed it. No! Opponent's Teferi is going to get exiled because of the Magus. Or it's going to be discarded. So my Peregrine will come out. Okay, I almost messed it up. So no attackers, suspend, and pass. Bye-bye Teferi. Yeah, opponent really misused that Magus there. Like, it looked cool that they countered my Gargadon, but, I mean, I even had Conflagrate in the graveyard, and they Magus on my turn, so minimum I can just Rolling Thunder for 7, divide, you know, however I choose. So, yeah, let's just put token on the Deep Walker, and then upkeep. This will do a stop. I don't actually need a stop, because the Mesa ability is going to go on the stack, so I'll just get rid of that. Well, I guess I'll want the stop in future turns. No, it won't matter. Alright, so this should just about put it away. So... make a flyer, sack it. Druid Plains, perfect. Could make 3 flyers, or can Fire Makavu kill a Sliver. I mean, if the opponent has like red spells they want to cast, I guess killing Sliver could help. I think that's pretty unlikely. So I think I'm just going to keep making flyers. Hard to lose with Sacred Mesa active. Looks like the opponent did not add a counter with step. I think I'm still going to just block with a token. I could put Dragoons on as well to finish off the Deep Walker, but it could get hurt by a combat trick, and it's just not necessary. Okay, Drakeling's a little annoying. I'll probably fire him on that. So we get white. And in this spot I'm not going to upkeep make a token, because I want to have extra mana up for Fire Moss so it resolves. Might get a concession from opponent here. I still have the Disintegrate left in the deck. Could Knight, but the Mesa tokens are getting for damage. I guess Knight potentially could, if I make a big attack. Nah, they're done. Alright, so that was a pretty exciting round 2. Hope to get another cool match in the finals. So I will see you for that. Alright, finals time. Haven't won die roll yet, but I've said that I would draw first. The mana is a little bit awkward. Deck can be a little slow. Being the play could be good too, but I think draw is a little bit better. This hand would be better on the play, because we do get to go Peregrine, then either turn 3 or turn 4 Knight, but it's fine on the draw as well. I do need to get to my 4th source of mana so I can cast a Cannonade, and then eventually get Sacred Mace going, and that should give us a win, hopefully. Sage of Epicure. I think the card's unplayable, so good start. Okay, got our 4th source of mana, so we can cast everything in our hand, actually. This Errant Doomsayer is also not a very exciting card. Well, we've got quite a few exciting cards, so we'll suspend the Peregrine. Doomsayers taps creature with toughness 2 or less, so our Peregrine's safe from that. And opponent didn't suspend anything on the first couple turns, so that's always good. Instead just played some 1/1s. Main phase Sax Expanse. Alright, not a great draw, so we can go for Lens. Can't cast the Knight yet, and don't want to waste Disintegrate on one of those creatures. Could also just Cannonade the Doomsayers, but just not under that much pressure yet, so I'm just going to wait. Okay, Tolarian Sentinel. Another card it's not super exciting. That said, I mean, it is going to make my removal a little bit worse. it does block Sacred Mesa, so I am just going to disintegrate it. Like, if I don't disintegrate it, opponent could just leave up a blue in it for the rest of the game, and then they play a threat I do want to disintegrate, and they just bounce that when I cast it. So it's sort of like Spellskite. You kind of just have to kill the card that protects the rest of their guys from removal. And the other thing is it protects itself too, so if I wait one more turn, I can't even disintegrate it. Opponent plays another 1 toughness creature. Wow, like Subterranean Shambler would be so insane against this opponent. We got Peregrine. Well, we can't. 2, 3. This is fine. So let's cannonade the Zealot, because otherwise it can kill our Halberdiers. And I guess we'll attack first. We are at 10. But our opponent just isn't doing much, so like until they do something, I feel pretty safe. Think twice. Like, if they want to, they can get 1 damage in here, use Doomsayers, tap the Knight. Might just be time for us to go for Sacred Mesa. We're 1 short of making 2 tokens, so maybe it's best to just go for Halberdiers first. Oops. Clicked through my main phase, so they tap Knight. In this spot, we can just attack with Peregrine. And then dump everything except for the Mesa. Opponent's probably flashing back their Think twice. And another good thing about leaving the Mesa as long as possible is if the opponent has Cloud Chase or Kestrel, it's a white common that any white deck is going to be playing. Wow, they Spellburst the Sky Cutter. Glad I didn't go for Sacred Mesa there. I certainly don't want to get that countered. Just flashback Think twice. Yeah, they should have just flashback Think twice last turn. Like countering my 2-1 when they have a 1-1 in play. They play another 1-1 for 1. Yeah, I gotta say, not a fan of my opponent's deck. I mean, it is the finals, so they must have some bombs here or there. But this is, wouldn't say par for the course, but I've definitely seen some surprising cards in the finals of these time spiral drafts. Okay. Opponent getting very aggressive for that 1 damage. They're trading 1 damage at me. I guess they're going to use the Children to just waste a turn, like to fog. But once we got Sacred Mesa going, it's going to be really hard to lose. So they take it all. Mesa, and might as well play the War Marshal, since because of the lens it costs an extra mana, so we can actually only make 1 flyer this turn. Assume nope. Opponent still doesn't sack the Children. I guess it'll be like they can't even do it next turn that well. And their best play might be to block Children on something, have the first strike from the Halberdiers come in to go to 1, then sack it, gain the 4 life back. So we're going to do this play again. So we're going to make a token with Mesa, and I'll pay for the upkeep. the most recent Pegasus. And draw planes, good draw. And just send everything in. And I also might just Doomsayers the Halberdier. But they're in trouble. Like, it can be okay to play one card like Doomsayers or one card like Sage in your deck. I mean, they can be good in certain situations. So, as a 23rd card, depending on what you need, it could be okay to run like a really marginal, 1/1 for 1 or something like that. But the problem is, if you run multiples, then you're going to get draws like my opponent just got, where your deck just doesn't do anything. I mean, there's literally 0 draws I could have had, other than, whatever, mulling to 4. Any deck you're facing is going to run you over. Like, you're just not doing anything. You're not putting pressure. You're not really playing great defense. You're just, like, putting cards into play and then just kind of bracing yourself. And it's just the more cards like that you put in your deck, the more often you're going to get these types of draws. And not just cards that are completely unplayable, but also stuff like Spellburst, which I think is a fine card. Zeldovec is fine too, but they're just kind of situational, little low impact cards with sort of high variance. They have the potential to be very weak, and the more of those cards you have in your deck, the higher chance there is that your draw is just going to do nothing. Let's get the Zeldovec in. Wow, we could play Fiery Justice against this opponent. That's just, Plague Wind for 3 mana. But Strangling Sid is also insane against them. So we'll cut the commander, and the red all looks good. So we'll run this back. I'm going to draw again, especially with the opponent just, playing such weak, just ineffectual cards. Just want to make sure I don't have to mull to 4. I'm sure they have Ephemeron, so Draining Well, because there's got to be a reason why they're here. But my deck's pretty powerful, and I feel like I can handle a decent number of bombs. Magus the Scroll, also pretty insane against them. So we can do a few things here. We could go with War Marshal and just chump for a turn to not pay upkeep. We can go Slag Heap, put a counter on. We could try to hold planes in hand relatively so we could Magus and get a hit, but we gotta wait till turn 5 till we could kill at night. So I'm just gonna go with War Marshal, and we'll chump the first turn so we don't have to pay Echo. We'll just activate Slag Heap. Yeah, we might even be racing our opponent here if they don't have a follow-up play. It's a Doomsayers. So, might just cannonade the Doomsayers. Let's just attack with Magus. I mean, now we're getting close to be able to just go for a percentage play of Magus. I mean, you could even upkeep it, but we would need a target. Ooh, Outrider and Core, that's a good one. Hopefully we can evangelize one of those creatures. And Peregrine. I kind of like just suspend and put a counter on Slag Heap. I mean, I could, if I get Slag Heap up enough, I could buy back Evangelize at least once. So we suspend, pass, counter on Slag Heap. And here's a spot I definitely might go for an upkeep Magus if I have 75% chance of hitting whatever opponent plays here. I think I would take that. because any card I draw is probably going to just make the percentages worse. If I specifically draw another planes, it'll get better, but if I draw like a 3-drop or bigger, that's going to suck. And if they do play some crappy 2 toughness or less creature, I'm not going to want to evangelize because I'm going to steal it. The spell would deal damage, prevent 1 damage. Well, Magus isn't a spell, so that means I'm going to have that play that I said I was going to do. So let's put a storage counter on. Upkeep, stop. I mean, no real reason to block here. You can, but I can also just take it and attack back. Main phase sack expanse. So upkeep. Let's go for planes. Missing here would be really bad. Good. Mountain. So we do need to get 3 planes in to play eventually, but for now I think we're just going to go with the mountain. Let's attack with both with goblins. I mean, I can chump on future turns, so there's no reason to chump so early. So I need 9 mana. So I have 3 planes, 3 counters is 6, plus 3 mountains, 9. So I think I can do that in 2 turns. I can buy back Evangelize. I won't be able to do it like with buyback the turn after, but it might not be necessary. Okay, Cavalry Master. Let's see. I can go for hitting the knight. So I gotta pay on this and try to hit. Can we do it again? Yes. Alright. So that means you gotta get lucky. So now we're gonna block the Cavalry Master, take 2. And then we're 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're 1 short of Evangelize buyback next turn. But we can go Castle Raptors, and we'll have the Peregrine in play. So, I mean, we should be able to hold opponent off for a turn, and then we can go for Evangelize buyback. Okay, Doomsayers. That doesn't really hurt. It does, I mean, it's a little annoying against Evangelize. Looter is pretty annoying. So at least we got their big creatures locked down here. Five. So we can either put a knight into play, or we can put another counter on Slag Heap. An extra counter on Slag Heap might let us get another buyback to Evangelize quicker. So I think that that's worth it. Where the knight, either, I mean, it probably doesn't let us chump. I don't think it's accomplishing too much. I might be able to attack with it, but I think just having maximum mana is probably the most important thing right now. I guess another benefit is, I mean, eventually with this in play, I can Magus. I might just like no buyback the Evangelize Magus in response, or Evangelize with 2 cards in hand, Magus in response if I'm buybacking. But that's gonna be a ton of mana. Either way, I think pumping the Slag Heap is pretty nice here. So I think well, the Peregrine. It's not actually doing much here. Do I actually have to attack with it? Maybe I should have gone for knight. I mean, I guess Peregrine is just jumping, so I'll just attack. I can race here. Got some decent damage in the air. I guess I'll block Raptors on Master and Goblin on Outrider. If opponent removes Raptors, and they can definitely tap Doomsayers to push for a little more damage, which I might take. I might chump with the Magus. So what was my mistake here? I guess I should have just played the Knight. Like, not that Knight's great, it just lets me chump, and I can chump next turn as well. So I think my play is still reasonable. This game's looking close. Okay, Tellurian Sentinel. That's not doing too much. Well, they're letting me chump, so that's great. I think I do. This gives double flanking to the Outrider, so I can't kill anything. And but my Raptors will survive. We'll put a counter on Slag Heap. And I think we buy back and evangelize. And I mean, any creature we get is going to be reasonable, is going to have some kind of positive effect for us. But it's going to be close. Sage of Epicure. I mean, every creature opponent oh, that's bad. Now we steal the Sage. That's annoying. Yeah, the last card, that was rough. Island Sage. And it even sets up like a decent play for their next turn, so that's pretty punishing. They discarded Think Twice. Yeah, it's not looking good. Definitely have some draws. Conflagrate for 3, just kill all their small creatures would be pretty nice. At least the Sage can chump. I mean, potentially. The opponent can tap with Doomsayers too. So, planes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 8, and then remove 2. I feel like we're a little bit slow here. Like, just a little bit too far behind. This opponent taps down Magus, taps down Sage. We block. We go down to 2. They get to loot. They already look at the top 4 cards to set up their best card for next turn. I mean, they could maybe make a huge mistake. And, you know, if we can make it through these couple of turns, then Evangelize obviously will just win the game. I mean, can we do something crazy like attack? I don't think so. Gotta leave everything back. So we got Evangelize, buyback, lockdown, but might, okay, they just flashback Think Twice, so they can't possibly have anything good, because they know their top 4 cards. If they tap with Doomsayers, then we're in pretty big trouble. I mean, I'd love to keep the Magus around to make sure we can kill that looter. I mean, this opponent might just Doomsayers tap the Magus, which I'm fine with, actually. think we gotta lose the peregrine. Now, I'm trying to remember last turn. I mean, does evangelize target sure of an opponent's course he controls? So when I cast it, I guess I don't even know how this card works. Like, does it go on the stack targeting something that my opponent controls, and then there's a space for them to have like responses? So could they have it target their Doomsayers and then Sentinels return their Doomsayers? I might take the 2 here. I guess I'm just going to block with Magus. Not sure about that. It's possible Magus is like the only way I can get out of this, get rid of that looter. But it might require a blind flip again. What opponent discarded? Okay. Oh, I drew Conflagrate. Conflagrate. Just aim it at Doomsayer's looter. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Actually, no. I am 1 damage short of maybe killing opponent here. If I could get through the attack and then Conflagrate an extra 3 plus, wait, 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah, 1 short. So instead, let's go Conflagrate these, 1, 2, and I'll play the knight. Okay, tap Sage. Probably use, no, they don't use Sentinel. So I have Knight. I mean, I think I can attack with Peregrine here. And play Knight. And I guess I can charge the Slag Heap instead of just leaving the land in hand for Conflagrate. Let's get in with Peregrine. I mean, it's sort of risky, but I think I just have to go for it. Let's get as much damage as I can here. I mean, opponent like had 4 cards on top, used a think twice, just discarded an island. Like, it doesn't really look like they have anything left over. Like, maybe they do, but it seems like they just have a bunch of nothing. Okay. This could be what I need. So go block, block. Hope they don't... Yep, they didn't remember the knight, and they didn't remember to use Outrider. That is massive. So they just lost their Outrider. That's a really easy thing to miss. You gotta, for both abilities, you have to activate them before damage goes on. Cation Crier, it's a little scary, but we do have the Conflagrate. Let's put a counter and Slag Heap. Actually, I guess maybe leaving a card in hand would have been better. Sky Cutter. And they just concede, yeah. We could just go for it there. 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. We conflagrate, kill Crier, 1 to opponent. We can deal 10. So, that was so close. It required opponent to make some misplays. I feel like I must have made some error at some point. But it was tough. We were behind the whole game and like had to set things up, and not everything went our way. Yeah, we were able to win it too, so must have done something right. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I definitely did. I love Time Spiral. I hope if anyone watched through this who hadn't actually played the format before, yeah, great format. Next time it's on Magic Online, definitely check it out. You can also draft slivers. There's so much to do in it. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.